Hi, my name is Shan, and I recently finished my PhD under Janine Cavendish at University of Minnesota. I started doing research at Cedar Creek in 2015, which was my first big summer of fieldwork after starting my PhD. At that point, the Cavendish Lab and other groups at Cedar Creek had recently started a big initiative to try to understand what we can learn about the diversity and functioning of plant communities using reflectance spectroscopy. I was eager to test out some of those ideas in the forest and biodiversity experiments at Cedar Creek. Just like in grasslands, research on forests has broadly shown that biodiversity has positive impacts for a wide variety of ecosystem functions, including productivity. What's less clear is why. What mechanisms cause such properties to emerge out of the interactions between the species and the community? Over the course of my fieldwork, I noticed that some of the slower growing broadleaf species in FAB grew better when they were shaded by other species, which suggested to me that they were benefiting from a facilitative interaction. By measuring their physiology and by analyzing biomass data, I could show that shading indeed had a facilitative effect on the most shade-tolerant species by reducing photoinhibition and microclimatic stress, which made the whole community more productive. I found that Cedar Creek was a great field site for me because it's become such a model system in community ecology. We know a lot about the site and its natural history, which is a great starting place to dig a little deeper into the mechanisms that explain the ecological patterns we see. When I started my work on photoprotection and photoinhibition, I really benefited a lot from the work of people who came before me and helped establish a foundation for the research I wanted to do. I think a lot of people come to Cedar Creek to explore some new facets of a system that's already been well studied, but their new perspectives allow them to discover something that nobody else had ever noticed before, and that enriches our understanding of the ecological processes that we see. One of my favorite things about Cedar Creek was working with the interns. I was a Cedar Creek graduate research fellow for 3 years, and so I mentored a lot of individual research projects and helped to organize workshops and seminars for the interns. I found that it was always really exciting to help young undergrads become scientifically literate at the very beginning of their careers. And I also learned a lot from them. Many of the interns who I worked with built incredibly creative projects out of things that they observed that sparked their curiosity while they were on the job. I'm still in touch with some of the interns I worked with as they've continued in their careers, scientific or otherwise. I also found that it was really wonderful to have Caitlin Potter coordinating outreach and education for the site. She created countless opportunities for grad students and postdocs to plug into existing science outreach projects, and also helped us develop our own. One year, I co-organized the Jackson Middle School Eco Extravaganza, which is a yearly tradition where we brought 80 kids or so from a majority non-white school nearby to Cedar Creek for a day to develop and carry out their own research projects. And things like that would have been much harder to pull off without people like Caitlin or like Megan Mawson. Grad students don't often get chances to work with professionals who are dedicated to outreach. And I think having Caitlin's support made our efforts that much more effective.